The global trifecta is a term that we came up with about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, Jackie. The global trifecta is what is going on right now in our current state of our economy and our globe that is creating such massive opportunity on LinkedIn right now. And I want to walk you through why the term global trifecta and this concept is so important in July of 2022. There are 3 things I want you guys to write down that are going on that are creating this global trifecta, which is, by the way, why LinkedIn has had what? Its highest revenue year ever this past year. Okay. Here are 3 things that are going on that are creating global trifecta on LinkedIn. Number 1, we talked about yesterday. You guys can write this word down: disruption. Disruption. So we talked about in 2019, there was mass disruption with the pandemic, right? Now we're in 2022 and we're seeing continual disruption in the state of our economy. What happens when there's disruption in our globe? How many of you have businesses that are global? I'm curious, businesses outside the United States. Okay, awesome. It doesn't matter whether you're US or global, but what I want you to know with this concept we're talking about is this is global. This is not just what's going on in the US, okay? What's happening globally during disruption is that people question everything. They question everything. And they're open-minded sometimes for the first time to making different decisions. Not only are they open, we talked about this piece yesterday, they're extremely active on the LinkedIn platform, right? Maybe even the average user who only checked in on occasion is much more active in the midst of disruption. We know this from behavior of users of LinkedIn and that counter-cyclical activity we talked about yesterday. Does anybody remember what we talked about with the counter-cyclical activity of LinkedIn? Is when there's disruption in the economy, there's a heightened use of the platform. So the pandemic and current disruption in economy have created this swirl of activity. And for those of you who coach, mentor, or support people in the entrepreneurship space, there's never been a bigger opportunity because during February 2019, the statistics that were shared with us were that 70% of people who had jobs did not like their jobs. But we had the lowest unemployment rate in like record history. Okay. So the bottom line is pre-pandemic, everyone was employed, but they hated their careers, right? Everyone was employed, but they hated their careers, right? Then what happened? Disruption happened. We've seen a large mass exodus out of the corporate space, and we're seeing a boom in entrepreneurship. Now, this coaching and what we teach inside the academy and our methodologies for attraction marketing are for anyone who has an end product or service on LinkedIn. However, I really want to speak to those of you who service or support entrepreneurs right now, because we've never seen a larger market of digital entrepreneurs who previously had a corporate career or are straddling a corporate career and also launching a business. And for those of you in direct sales, there's never been a greater opportunity to present an opportunity for an additional income stream. Those of you who are career coaches or business coaches or mindset coaches, right? There's a number of, again, we coach everyone on our methodology, but the market is ripe on LinkedIn and those arenas. Okay. So that is number 1 in the global trifecta. Number 2 is the gig economy. And I hit on this a minute ago. And that is that there has never been more openness to people gigging or doing multiple things than their mainstream career and leveraging it, right? Even my husband, who has a very solid sales vice president role in a job where he plans to be forever, has set up an account and is consulting outside of his day job, because what happened in the past 2 years, people had spare time. They started looking at gigging and building secondary income streams. So the bottom line is the gig economy is here to stay. And that is number 2 of the global trifecta. What is number 3 that creates this trifecta that is creating the boom? It is the first time in ever documented in history do we have disruption, the acceptance of the gig economy, and a social media platform designed to network and grow and talk about business. Okay. So never in our history have we had a strategic platform in the midst of a dip in economy and disruption, and had socially acceptable, everyone's gigging, and having a social media platform designed for this, right? So we have this global trifecta that's creating a very, very hot social media platform for those who are willing to jump in and learn the system and the methodology. And again, for those of you who are like, I don't even know who this random Melissa is that I opt in for this like free LinkedIn training. Homework, go Google Gary Vaynerchuk and then type in the word LinkedIn and see how much this marketing expert has to say about the hotness of LinkedIn right now in this current economy, right? Number 2 was the gig economy. Number 1 is a pandemic and disruption. And number 3 is having a business-to-business platform to actually network and talk about your services and products, okay? And the thing I want to hit on here, how many of you guys have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yes. Okay. So what's really cool, just to give you a quick background, Napoleon Hill studied some of the most wealthiest people on the planet at the turn of the century. And what he was looking at is what made them so wildly successful. Why were they some of the first millionaires of that century? And here's what he came to conclusion of. And this is what makes me excited about where we are in the digital space and business. Okay. What he looked at was historically people had made their fortunes in pioneering. Right. But these new millionaires that he was studying had pivoted and were finding a completely new way to build revenue streams in business. Right. And it was through the Industrial Revolution. Right. Everybody thought these first couple of guys like Henry Ford were nuts as they pivoted and were doing business in a completely different way. But these guys were the first ones to make absolute fortunes. Right. What I think about today with our digital CEO era, and especially post-COVID, is how we do business has changed. How we can serve and connect and recruit and find clients has changed. And for those of us who can embrace it and run and get market share in this space are going to be the next chapter on Think and Grow Rich of 2022, right? So I just want you guys to think about that pre-COVID, the way people marketed and connected on business was completely different than today. I got approached by my uncle, who's a financial advisor, who was like, I need you to teach our financial advisors personal branding on LinkedIn, right? Real estate agents looking to how can they build their personal brand on LinkedIn, right? Mortgage loan officers looking for how can I build my personal brand on LinkedIn? People are generating business differently today.